Welcome in to another edition of Pressbox Live. I'm Stan the Fan Charles of Pressbox and PressBoxOnline.com. And with me today from the Maryland Center of Excellence on Problem Gambling are Carin Miller, who's a peer, and Brina Olunkwa, who is a coordinator, a prevention coordinator. Welcome to the show. And Carin, I'm going to start with you. Peer, just for those that are watching, a peer means that in the past you've had a problem with gambling.
Yes. First, thank you for having us.
It's our
And yes,
pleasure.
I gambled for 30 years, and the
Right.
first 20 years I kept it safe and fun. Then I crossed that invisible line into gambling addiction for the last decade. I'm now over 5 years in recovery from that severe
Congratulations on that.
gambling addiction. Thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you. Very blessed and honored to be able to share my story to help other folks.
So let me, before we bring Brina in, let me just ask you that first, because I think it's very educational for people that are listening that might be their ears are perking up gambling problem. What made the difference the first 20 years where you kept it safe and fun? Was it the legalization of gambling? Did that lead you into a real problem with it?
I had access to it because of my career path. I was a bartender for 37 years, and so I was always selling it. And then when I started playing it, and I think what crossed over that invisible line was that I had unfortunately, fortunately yet unfortunately, won two jackpots back to back. And that's what sent me out on my frenzy.
Yeah, that'll do. I had that happen with me very early in my horse racing addiction. I won a $2,300 uh, daily double at Pimlico, and I said, "Man, this is great. I can just do this for a living, you know." And I had fun doing it. And then it became a problem. Rena, I want to bring you in because you're
Mhm,
the prevention coordinator. How
mhm.
familiar does Carin's story sound and resonate for you?
Unfortunately, it is very common stories that I'm hearing um, from people who mostly um, like college age, unfortunately, sometimes even younger, that are resonating with this story. But there's also people who are adults and have been adults, you know, that are fully adults
Yeah.
that resonate with this story as well. So,
Carin, we wanted to touch base that Super Bowl week is coming up when this is going to hit our website and be on there. We wanted to talk about that and the problem that brings up. But our number one problem is this ever increasing youth gambling epidemic going on right now. I was shocked to read that 1 out of 10 college students are considered gambling addicts now or have a gambling addiction. Can you tell us what fuels that? Because I'm guessing, even though you said you bartended for 37 years, that you had sort of a respect for earning money. You were out in the workforce a little bit, and maybe that respect for how hard you work to earn money. It sounds like a lot of kids are getting fueled from a lot of different ways.
Yeah, so the youth that I'm familiar with through the center calling in, and we even have teenagers calling in, that the legalization of sports betting has really increased the calls that we've seen. And unfortunately, we also see and hear that parents are setting their children up with online gambling accounts. And they just don't realize that this is truly an addiction and that this can progress. You might not see it. And they call this the silent disease. People don't even realize that you're addicted to gambling because we don't smell like alcohol. We don't look like, somebody that's typical. I just look like this
Yeah,
younger,
we
but
look more functional than
yes,
people that drink a lot. Yeah,
yes.
or
And
do
so the
drugs a lot. Yeah,
yes. And so the youth that are coming and calling, the youth that are calling us, it's really sad stories because they're so young and their brains aren't even developed till they're 25. And when we see these 18 and 19-year-olds who have criminal charges now and or they're in hot water with their family because they've stolen, the signs of gambling addiction are lying, stealing, cheating, manipulating, becoming recluse. And we hide everything and we do it well
yeah,
until
yeah,
we get caught.
yeah.
And caught means um, having to constantly borrow money or constantly um, asking,
Borrow money, and not being able to pay it back when we say we're going to.
yes, and taking out loans and not being able to pay them back and choosing what you want to spend your money on. Do you want to spend it on gambling or do you want to spend it on the bills that need to be paid? And maybe if I go out and gamble it, I can pay off more of my bills. You know,
Yes.
it's such a severe mental mess that we
Yeah,
get
well,
ourselves
it's
into.
a real catch 22. And again, like when you borrow money and with the intention in your mind that you are going to pay it back, but then when you come into a little money, your first priority isn't paying that person back. It's gambling to make more money so you can get out of more debt.
Yes, and you can imagine me with cash every day in my
Yeah,
hand.
yeah,
And I was held accountable by nobody
yeah,
because I knew what was in my tip jar, nobody else did. So
right.
I didn't have to tell my husband how much I had made. I was paying the bills, but I was robbing Peter to pay Paul.
Brina, the issue of parents opening up accounts for their children. Now that seems like that it would immediately set off some alarms with the parents once they see how much the kids are going through. Do the parents that sort of open that, do they then get involved with trying to help, or are they just sort of not paying attention?
So, as Karen said, it's just not recognized by most people, by a lot of people,
Yeah,
as a disorder, as an addiction. So it's not, they don't really see the issue. Some
but
parents
don't
will
they? My question is,
provide,
don't the parents see it on their credit card bill? Or
yes, they,
do they just open endedly let the kids keep running that up?
so sometimes yes and sometimes no. Sometimes they see the bill and they're passive about it.
Okay,
Sometimes they see the bill and the child, they don't, if they don't want their children to be placing bets, then they will, they'll face some kind of, parental consequence.
right.
Um there are also some parents who allow it. So yeah,
And
Is
there's
part.
sometimes it
parents
progresses.
who
So
actually put.
Go ahead, Brina.
Okay, sorry. I
my
was
apologies.
saying that some parents actually put the allowance um towards an app.
Okay, okay. Carin, the issue of youth gambling. How about the ways that kids are getting into gambling? Now, you mentioned this increase has been spiked by legalized gambling in sports, but is there as big a problem with casino betting, horse betting, or is the largest problem with youth now sports betting,
I see the largest increase through online sports betting.
online sports betting?
Yes. And yes, I do know some folks that go into the casinos and actually gamble. And I know some people that do both. They go into the casino or they bet online. But a lot of times, as gambling addicts, we become recluse. So we would prefer not to be seen. We prefer not to have anybody there to bother us. We just want to be doing our thing.
We just want to do it online. Yeah.
Yeah.
How big a problem is the reclusiveness? That's a huge indicator for people that become reclusive. They lose their friends, they lose girlfriends, they lose, they can become disconnected with their spouse or children. That's a huge problem, isn't it?
Yes, it is. And it was a problem with me and my husband. My husband was getting angry. At first, he was like, "Oh, she's having fun. Let her go have fun."
Right,
And then it became so bad that he had to start speaking to me about it. And
right,
then he started questioning the money. And my husband has a traumatic brain injury. So unfortunately, I was able to lie to him easier than probably the normal couple.
right,
And I did, and I lied to him about how much I was spending. I didn't tell him I was taking money off of our home equity line, and I didn't
right.
tell him that I was taking credit card loans, which are hard to pay back, as everybody
Yes, they
knows.
are because the interest rates are phenomenally high, phenomenally high. Did you and your husband make it through this? Are you still together?
Yes, we did. We'll be
Okay.
married 42 years this year.
Well, congratulations on that. And it sounds like he's a very loving and understanding person to a point, you know,
Yes.
to a point. A lot of people aren't so lucky with that. So let's talk about when when you get calls, Brina or Carin, from young people. Let's talk about the young people. Are they at all concerned with the anonymity, keeping this confidential, or they don't care about that at all? They just they just realize it's gotten out of control.
Um, I from experiences, I go to the schools to talk
Yeah,
with the youth, and I do see a little bit more openness about it. I guess because their buddies are doing it, so they want to talk with them about, hey, I placed this bet, or however it goes. So it's not as I do feel as though there's more like there's a lot of community around um, participating. So I I'm I feel like there is a little bit of a change due to um, it seems like it's more socially common and acceptable, so they're more likely to talk about it.
Rena brings up an interesting point, Carin. We just talked about the reclusiveness, but I think with young kids, it may start that it's something that they can identify with other kids on and connect with other kids on. Is that accurate?
Yes, and sometimes they like to brag.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I bet
Oh,
and
I
I
won this.
won,
Yeah.
right? And a gambler will always tell you what they won. They will never tell you what they lose.
Mhm.
And so I see a lot of youth who figure that it's legal, so I can talk about it.
Right.
But at some point when we cross that invisible line into addiction, then we start hiding it because we know that we're lying, stealing, cheating, manipulating.
Young people tend to think of themselves more than people your age and my age, Carin. You're a good bit younger than me, but we'll keep Brina on the side, Brina, because she's so much younger than us. But seriously, young people tend to think of themselves as bulletproof a little bit, about they drive fast because nothing's going to happen to me, or uh, is bulletproof. And part of the issue here is that they have a hard time really registering that it's a problem for them.
Well, I think that children do think they're invincible, and that unfortunately, when you win, that's what sucks you in, excuse that term, but
Yep.
that's what draws us into heavy gambling.
Yeah.
And somebody that's on the verge of maybe at that high risk level, they win a little bit and they've run all the way over that risk level into that addiction piece. And that's where it's so hard to understand, especially somebody on the outside, a family member or friend. Well, what's wrong with them? They have changed. And that's what a lot of people did with me. What happened to you, Karen? And I was always reliable and responsible, and
Right. And all of a sudden you weren't. Yeah.
and then I wasn't.
Yeah.
So they everybody knew, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. Um, couple of the things I see on the website. By the way, if somebody's interested in talking to somebody, the number to call is 1-800 Gambler. 1-800 Gambler. Do you have the numbers for that, Karen, in front of you? Yeah, I have it. It's 1-800-426-2537. 1-800 Gambler, or visit helpmygamblingproblem.org. Those are the two ways. I think it's important, though. There were four things listed there, and I wanted to ask you both about them. Brianna, Brina, Brina, uh, no cost treatment. What does that
Yeah.
literally mean? If they call you or
Hmm.
reach out to you and end up talking to Carin, is the treatment free for as long as they need treatment, or is just the initial treatments?
It's free.
Okay,
Um, Karen might want to go into more details on that one. Um,
Sure. So it's
okay.
in the treatment is free and it's indefinite. You
okay,
can stay with one of our counselors. If that counselor doesn't happen to work out, we'll refer you to another counselor. We have 140 or so treatment counselors around the state. Some of
uh-huh,
them are inpatient and some of them are outpatient.
okay. And when it says peer support, that means having somebody that is a peer that's having that the person that calls in is having a problem similar to what the peers had in the past.
Yes, and the peer program right now has four peers. I'm the only female. We have three male peers, and we all have lived experience in different gambling venues. So we can always find someone that's more relatable to you, but we're all relatable through the gambling addiction piece. So
Okay.
I played slot machines. Somebody might want to speak with me over somebody who's a sports bettor, which most of the guys that I work with were sports bettors.
Okay. But most importantly, when they call in or reach out by website, Brina, it's no cost treatment and you get peer support
That's
immediately, correct?
yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
How does that peer support start to become actualized, Carin? Will somebody literally meet them in person? Will they go out and have a cup of coffee? Or will it be Zoom or they come to your office? How does it, the relationship start to form?
We do not see people in the office, but we can meet them in a public place. We
Okay.
talk to them on the phone and we can set up virtual meetings online for them.
And I know somebody, a friend of mine, who I'll leave nameless at the time, very wealthy guy, had a major, major problem. He still goes to like AA meetings or Gambling Anonymous meetings. Can you refer people to go to meeting groups, and how much success do you think they can have with that? Is that a good backup to having a peer?
I can take that if you want.
Yeah,
So I am a member of Gamblers Anonymous. I don't go quite as much as I should.
yeah,
However, I'm solid in my recovery. But
right.
we have online meetings, we have phone meetings, we have in-person meetings through the Gamblers Anonymous program. And we actually have a Monday night Young and Strong meeting, and we have a Saturday morning Young and Strong meeting. And one of the young guys several years ago said, you know what, we need something for the youth. And so he started this. And so it's recommended you're between the ages of 21 and 35 to
Okay.
join this, but we've had older and younger. And every person I've ever sent there, every male I've ever sent there, has told me how wonderful it is, and they are now solid in their recovery. it has to be a great group. I'm a female, I've never been there, but I
Yeah.
just know that these guys are loving that meeting.
The meeting where there's other gamblers around with
Yeah,
problems.
it's a
Yeah, it's a
Gamblers
Gamblers
Anonymous.
Anonymous. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, Brina, the Super Bowl is coming up. How
Mhm.
big, there's a couple events during the year. There's the Triple Crown, I think March Madness, and then
Mhm.
the granddaddy of them all is the Super Bowl. I have notes that I think included up to last year where the Super Bowl betting combined was 1.39 to 1.7 billion in bets. Um, does somebody really go off the deep end on the Super Bowl itself, Brina?
Oh yes. It's it's the like you said, it's the one of the biggest or the biggest sports event. So that's people will put their focus on that
But
on the
it's
Super
but
Bowl
it's one
for to
but
pit,
it's
to place their bets, place some of their largest bets.
yeah, it's one of but it's only one game. Is it a game, Karen, that people look to as I'm gonna get back even after this, or because it's the big game, there's more excitement to it?
I do think that people increase their normal bets for the Super Bowl. Maybe they save up for a couple months prior
Yeah.
to so that they can have a bigger, because it's huge. And I don't know how the spreads work and all of that, but it has to do with that. And now with sports betting, you can bet on absolutely every
Oh, you could bet
play,
on the length of the
on
national
indi
anthem.
right on the individual player and what
Yeah.
they're going to do. And
What color Gatorade they're going to pour on the winning coach. You can pour. I mean,
exactly.
it's crazy, absolutely
Yeah.
crazy. So do you guys get more calls and inquiries around the Super Bowl because this is a sort of a come to Jesus moment for them?
It does pick up during that. And of course, Problem Gambling Awareness Month is March, which is right around the corner.
Right around the
So
corner.
during that time, we are extremely busy with calls.
Okay. All
Mhm.
right. Guys, is there anything else you want to talk about today, or you think we've touched on everything?
I just wanted to make sure everybody knows that they can contact a peer and
Mhm.
all of our services are free and 99% of the resources that we have are free as well. And all they have to do is call 1-800-GAMBLER and they will be in Maryland and they will be connected to a peer and they can go on and do a self-assessment questionnaire on that helpmygamblingproblem.org, excuse me.
Yeah.
And it's a very thorough questionnaire, and it will tell you if you're at high risk or if you're keeping it safe and fun.
Hey, that number 1-800 Gambler. If I'm watching in Pennsylvania right now or New Jersey, does that number work that's going to get me to somebody, or is there a different number in different states?
Once you give them your zip code, that'll be transferred
It'll
over
be
to the
transferred to the
resources.
appropriate state. Okay.
Yes. And not
Okay.
all states have peer support services like
Okay.
we do.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm urging people again, as somebody who had a problem at one time, I think I've got it very well under control. My only problem is the few times I do bet now, when I lose, I go, why did I do that? But I understand. I understand. The phone number, though, is 1-800 Gambler, which translates to 1-800-426-2537, or visit the website helpmygamblingproblem.org. And again, it's confidential, free treatment. You'll find a peer like Carin that can help you get through this. And that's Carin. One last question. There is hope for people with a gambling addiction, right? It feels
Oh,
hopeless at the time you're in the middle of it, but there is hope.
absolutely. And I've helped people, and a couple months later, that were there in dire straits when I first talked to them.
Yeah,
And then after several months, they call me back and it's so rewarding on my end. It helps me be accountable too.
yeah,
but for my own recovery, but just to hear the hope in their voice and the happiness and what they're doing with their life and having balance rather than just all focusing on gambling. That's the hardest thing is trying to find that balance to healthy activities.
Okay. Again, we appreciate our guests today, Carin Miller and Brina Olunkwa. Appreciate both of you on, and we're constantly doing these through, we do 3 or 4 a year, and we always look forward to talking to you guys. Do great work. Keep up the good work. And there is hope for a compulsive gambler out. Might not seem like it right this moment, but there is hope. Bye for
Absolutely.
now.
And we thank Pressbox
All right.
and thank
Thank
you,
you both
Dan.
very much.
Mhm.
Bye
Thank you.
bye. Bye
Thank
bye.
you.